Hi guys, my name is Soleil, and 6 weeks ago my partner and I made the incredibly long journey from Austin, Texas, United States to Phuket, Thailand, where we will be living for the next year of our lives. On that journey we also brought along our furry best friend Jackson, and in this video I wanted to break down the steps that I took to make sure that he arrived in Phuket with us. There is a lot of planning that goes into it, so hopefully by breaking this down step by step for all the people watching, it makes your lives easier, just as I wish I had for myself at the time. So I've got a few steps that I've mapped out kind of prior to the real steps. With anyone moving across the world, you've probably started doing your own research, and that should include researching how to get your pet there if that's part of your plan. Airlines differ in their requirements. The route from your state can differ based on how many layovers you have. Airlines differ on whether your pet can be checked bag or if they have to travel as cargo, which I know is not ideal. All the requirements for each of these flights are different. To be specific, on my experience, cargo was a separate plane in a separate flight, while checked bag is on the same flight as you. When thinking about cargo versus checked bag as well, there is a huge price difference. So if flying with your pet on your plane is possible, I really think that's the best route. Start off doing your research and really get a base knowledge of, hey, can my pet travel with me on this plane? Does he have to go on a separate plane? What route is the best for us to take? What airline is the best for us to take? All of those things. You want your travel day to be as stress-free as possible for not only you and whoever you're traveling with, but also your animals. The next prep step is literally called prep and organization, and this is the stage where all that information that you got in your research stage, you're going to put it into one source of truth, one place. So for us, we started a Google Doc about 3 months before we actually left the country. Any questions we had, any research that I had come upon was all placed into this Google Doc, and we referred back to this doc for anything we needed. We also had a 3-month calendar in this Google Doc as well as printed so that we could see the dates when things needed to get done. For you, that might be, okay, putting it into your Google Calendar or making a note on your phone and sharing it with everyone involved. But I do think having one source of truth for everything in one location is really important, especially if you're planning with other people. This is going to be your last prep step. Go ahead and bust out your phone measuring app. I will include a photo of how to measure your animal. Go ahead and write those rough estimates down because it'll come in handy later. All of the following steps that I'm going to talk about, this is really starting 9.5 weeks, maybe 10 weeks before you're actually going to start your travel. 10 weeks prior to really starting the journey of moving abroad. You should call your regular vet, make an appointment with a new vet if you don't have an established one, and go ahead and get set up for your rabies vaccine. Even if your pet is not totally due for their rabies vaccine, I would go ahead and get it done before you get into the country so that it's one less thing you have to worry about. At this time of your scheduled rabies vaccine, you should also go ahead and schedule an appointment for all of the vaccines that Thailand requires for your pet to enter the country. There are a few vaccines that are not typical in America, and I know my dog didn't have them, so it was important that we got them. Step 2 is going to be booking your flights. Could be step 1, but I wanted to get that appointment notice on your radar, but book your flights. Every other date after you book your flights is going to be contingent on your arrival date into Thailand. Go back to your research stage where you considered, okay, what airline is the best for my pet? What route is the best for us to take? For us, it was most important to be traveling the least amount of time with the least amount of stops. You will want to go ahead and submit your carriage of pets request form almost immediately. You want the airline to be aware that you have an animal coming aboard, or you're hoping your animal can come aboard, and this allows the airline as well to prep accordingly. What you'll do is you'll take those measurements that you got in your prep stage and you will input all those measurements into this request form. You also need a general idea of the size of your crate. So if you haven't ordered your crate yet, that's okay. Go ahead, find a crate online. It doesn't have to be your exact one, but you want one that you think the measurements are going to be similar to the one that you get. You need your pet's measurements, you also need your crate measurements, and they're going to ask if there's bedding in the crate. I would just put, you have a bedding that's a couple inches. Get that request form submitted immediately or 24, 48 hours after you book your flight. So the airline's aware, you're aware that you've done it, and then you're going to receive a confirmation email saying, okay, we've received your request. This is not an approval, but we are aware that you have a request pending with us. For the carriage of pets request form, you can't do this before you have a flight. So you can't confirm whether or not there is space until you've already booked your flights. I received my approval that, hey, there is space on this plane. You are able to travel with your pet on this flight within 17 hours from my original booking time. So I hope that this timeline of 24, 48 hours that you see on the email is the same for everybody. A lot of these steps really are just out of your hands. The best you can do is prepare. Step number 3 is probably the most fun one, at least for the ladies. This is gonna be your shopping phase. I compiled a list of everything that I had to buy throughout my planning process, and I just think it's easier to go ahead and buy it all at once so you have it. You don't need to do a bunch of different store runs like we did. This includes your crate, your bowls for your crate if you need those, bedding for the crate, random things like puppy pads, chicken wire, which I will explain later. When you order your crate, you should be following this size guideline. Your crate should also be IATA approved, which means the spacing needs to be a certain size. The stickers saying live animal with arrows should be around the crate. There should be bolts securely attaching all sides of the crate. There are a lot of companies that say their crate's approved, but they're not really approved. I will include a screenshot of the crate that we bought. Step 4, I'm calling appointments and medical documents part 2. So you have your initial, vaccine appointments that you made a couple weeks ago. And now this stage is where you're gonna be scheduling your boosters, or if you didn't do that already after your initial injection. You are also gonna find a USDA certified vet that can provide you with a health certificate into Thailand or whatever other country you plan to go into. These are my experiences coming into Thailand. I do know a lot of other countries require this health certificate, so this could be applicable to you. I know in my case, the vet that provided the vaccines was not able to provide the health certificate. Just put it on their radar that they have a patient coming in 7 weeks that's gonna need this health certificate. They're gonna start looking into the requirements that they need for you to show proof of. There's a lot of boxes to check, so as long as you've done your research, they're doing their research, everything should come together smoothly. I'm also calling this a medical doc gathering stage. Here are the documents that you should start getting together at this time. You'll see these documents repeated when you go to your health certificate appointment, as well as applying for your import permit. Go ahead and copy and laminate what you can. Okay, so you've booked your flights, you've done your shopping, made your appointments. Mini step, once you receive your crate in the mail, go ahead and do what I'm calling the crate test. Your pet needs to be able to sit down comfortably, stand up comfortably, and turn around comfortably. Sit down, lay down, turn around. We've got steps and we've got important dates. So important date number 1 is 30 days before your expected travel date. Go ahead and submit for your import permit. This is a collection of documents that you're going to email to your relevant contact. Everything that you collected during your document collection stage should be included in your import permit application. I will include a snippet of what my final email looked like to my Phuket contact for that permit. You will receive an email saying, hey, we've got your request. This is not an approval. I was so thorough because I didn't want anything to go wrong when we're so close to our travel date, which I recommend everyone doing for themselves as well. Step 5 is going to be your crate prep. This was a big DIY project for us in our household. This is where you're going to use some of those things that you bought during your shopping stage and kind of put it all together. So I joined Facebook pages when I was, trying to figure out how to best get my pet into Thailand, and one of those Facebook page contacts reached out to me. It's actually a pet transport company in India, and said, hey, your crate is technically okay, but there's some new guidelines around air ventilation spacing. So what we've started to do to just make sure that every crate is okay is we've started to install chicken mesh between the crate and the actual metal wiring that comes on your crate already. Some airports I've heard are implementing this super strictly, some are not. My airport in Dallas said that they had never seen anyone do it, but I think better safe than sorry, and if it's a step you want to skip, feel free to. Here is an internal view of the wire netting that we did. I know that there are ways to get this rather than it being on the inside of the crate, through here, but I was working with little time, so this is what we did, and I cut all of these edges down to make it more safe and put these screws and bolts in. So that the full internal view. Also want to make sure that it is on front door if you're doing this step. And with the bowls, I ended up clipping out 2 little holes here for his bowl to go back into. So just clips back in. There we go. You're gonna also zip tie a leash to the outside of your crate. I got a non-retractable one from Amazon. Go ahead and duct tape a bag of food on the top of the crate as well as a water bottle on top of the crate. Now you should be putting one portion of the laminated documents into the sleeve on top of your crate. You should also have the original copies on your person, easily accessible in your carry-on bag while you're traveling. What I did is I made a name tag for Jackson with all of our contact information, his feeding schedule, information about his temperament. Just wanted anyone who came into contact with him to know that, hey, this is someone's loved pet and please take care of me. And flip it over. There is a cute picture of him. It's cute. If you plan on training your dog to drink out of a hamster water bottle, this is the time to start training them. You're coming up on probably 25 days before travel. In my case, we tried to train him on this water bottle. It didn't go as we planned. So how I ended up securing the hamster bottle was I zip tied it securely, and then I actually just tilted it so that anything that dripped out of here was dripping into his main water bowl. I found this to be rather leaky on its own, and so I just wanted to make sure that water wasn't spilling out. In Jackson's crate, he had a hoodie of mine, he had a couple toys as well, just to provide comfort on the way. Gonna go ahead and put your bedding in the crate. Puppy pads need to be placed on top of the bedding. Second important date, you are coming up on 10 days prior to your arrival date. Remember, 10 days prior to your arrival, you should be attending your health certificate appointment. By this appointment, you should have already submitted all the documents that your vet has requested via email. At this appointment, your vet is submitting all this information. They send it off to this agency in the US, who then has to sign, date, return to you by the time that you're leaving to get onto your plane. So it's kind of a tight turnaround. This is another one of those things where you just have to trust that it gets back to you in time. It's a FedEx overnight package that mine came with a tracking number, but my tracking number never updated. I was actually on the phone with the vet saying, my tracking number hasn't been updated. We are leaving tomorrow to drive to Dallas. We won't be in our house. So it's important to relay that information to your vet so they know to relay it to the agency in the US who is responsible for these documents and getting them back in time. Very stressful time, I know. Very stressful time. Step 6 is going to be your airport prep. And I'm saying that this should be done 36 hours in advance prior to getting to the airport. At this point, make sure that you have all of your documents printed out. One last time, make sure you have them on you. You should also have your health certificate back in the mail. So photocopy that, you keep the original on you. Say it one more time. You keep the original on you, and then put that photocopy in the pet's plastic sleeve that you've duct taped to the top of the crate. Make sure you pack your mini pliers, because I've seen cases where once people got to the actual airport, they didn't have pliers to take the final zip ties off. Another part of airport prep is finding a driver in Thailand to pick you up from the airport that is dog or pet friendly. We didn't try at the airport, but I had found a company on Facebook. I typed in pet friendly drivers Phuket, got lots of contacts through there, and was able to confirm with them the time of pickup. So we are on day of arrival at the airport. The day of travel, before we actually went to the airport, we took Jackson to a dog park to run around. He has a 24-hour travel day. I did not give him any sedatives because he is very well crate trained. He was in a crate for years and it was a safe place, and I don't know, he's resilient, I like to say. We arrived at the airport. It was recommended to do it 3 hours before your departure. Strongly recommend taking this time because checking Jackson in alone took about an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes. At the airport, they did make Jackson get out of the crate, go in the crate, sit down. They did the whole crate test on him in front of me. They took photos. Honestly, Qatar was very kind and assured us that he'd be okay. So the final step of sending your pet off, at least for our dog, you zip tie all 4 corners of the front crate gate. Just to show you where those zip ties would go, you pack 4 in your airport bag, and then when you're saying goodbye, you're gonna zip tie 1, 2, 3, and 4 shut onto the crate. Then you say goodbye. Actually, when we were waiting at our gate, we were able to see him being loaded onto the plane.
This is a bit nerve-wracking.
Oh my god. You can hear me scream in the little video, but he made it safe. Throughout the travel day, we were checking in with all the agents, ensuring that Jackson was making it onto each plane. I put an air tag on your shopping list if you want to get that. We put it on him, and it was fun to watch him be at our airport every time. Final step, you've made it, you've done the thing. You have traveled 24 hours plus minus across the globe. You've arrived in Thailand with your pet. Here's how it went for us. We were walking off the plane and there is a big sign that says Soleil and Jackson. And I immediately was like, okay, am I getting picked up? I've never been picked up, so sweet of you. They just assured me that it was for Jackson. Jackson was off the plane, and that was quicker than we had gotten off the plane, which I thought we still got off at a good time. He was spooked when we got him out of his crate for sure. We went through customs, then you grab your bags, and Jackson is huge in his big crate on a big cart that they had, and so I couldn't miss him at the baggage claim. Took him to the quarantine station where you will provide all the documents that you've kept handy dandy in your sleeve or wherever you kept them in your carry-on. You are then given an import license with an official stamp on it. As we were walking him through the airport, you then go to the final baggage claim, and this is where you'll pay your import tax. The import tax was 1,000 baht, which is equivalent to about $3 in the US. So it comes on this little blue slip, and as long as you keep that on you, and say you take your pet out and bring them back in, you'll never have to pay the fee again. So just keep that on you. I wanted to do a breakdown of the cost of transporting Jackson. A few background facts is that he is a 36 kilogram mixed breed pet, so a lot of our items are bigger. The cost of transporting him is more. The people here are incredible. I think preparing myself, preparing my dog, my partner, us being so well prepared just made everyone nicer to us. I hope this video was helpful. I am open to questions, messages. If I can clarify anything in this video that was a little confusing, feel free to respond. Jackson and I wish you the best on your upcoming journey.